Timothy Geithner has his work cut out for him, certainly. More than 70,000 job cuts yesterday alone. Today, we're already talking about companies like Corning announcing layoffs. So what can the president do about the deepening recession? Joining me now from Washington is Republican Congressman and former presidential candidate Ron Paul. Good morning, Congressman. Great to talk to you this morning. You know, some libertarians called the first financial bailout the Patriot Act of Finance. Now we're looking at a stimulus package that is going to be even bigger by all accounts. And a lot of economists seem to say that a massive spending package is needed to get the economy moving again. You're against it. Explain.
Well, it's because it's the government that is spending. If the people were spending it, that would be fine. But government, the government never does anything productive. They have to take money from productive individuals and spend it in a non-productive way. So it's just digging a bigger hole and a bigger debt, and that is our problem. This stimulus package is going to cost each and every American $6,700 of more debt. So how can that be beneficial? If debt was the answer, we would have never had our problem, because we've been doing, a lot of deficit financing here for the past 8 years, and it got us into the trouble. So all this plan of more government stimulus and more inflation, it's absolutely the wrong way to go. We're doing exactly what we did in the 1930s. So we are taking a recession and working very hard at trying to turn it into a depression.
Well, when we're talking about 7.2% unemployment on the national average, 10% in some states that have been hit hard, especially in the manufacturing sector. What is the answer then for so many people who are out of work?
Well, there is no easy answer, and those who propose more government, I'm sure they're well motivated, but the answer is to get out of the way, to allow the liquidation of debt and to allow prices to come down. You want to have prices of houses to come down. You don't want to stimulate housing building when we've overbuilt about 1 million houses. So you want to allow the market to work. You want people to be able to save their money and liquidate all the mistakes that have been made. Governments make mistakes when they keep interest rates artificially low and they spend too much money. And if you don't erase those mistakes, you just get a bigger hole for ourselves.
I see your point, but you're basically telling people that, you know what, the majority of Americans sort of have to suck it up, realize that we've been living well beyond our means, and go back to almost a 1960s standard of living. How is that really going to be a realistic pitch?
Well, politically, it isn't realistic, and that's why you can expect more inflation, more spending, and more deficit, because taking the hard medicine is not acceptable. But the tragedy is to continue to do what we're doing isn't going to solve the problem. It won't create productive jobs. What it will do is make the problems worse and creates the depression. What we're worried about right now, at least I am, is that it's even worse than the 30s, because we're on the verge of destroying the dollar. So if you think the financial crisis is bad and the financial system isn't working, wait till you find out when the dollar doesn't work. And that's what the markets are telling us right now. People are still hanging on to treasury bills, but that's the last thing they're hanging on to. And when they finally reject the dollar and go into assets of real value, you're going to see a calamity, because it's going to be a lot worse than what we're having today.
I mean, this is something that you've been talking about for, boy, since we've had you on the show, so more than a couple of years now. But, you know, a lot of people, you say the government needs to step out of the way. A lot of people say it was deregulation that got us into this mess in the first place. That's why things collapsed. The hands-off approach didn't seem to work. I mean, not only with the types of loans that were given to people that couldn't pay them back, regulation and oversight in places like Fannie and Freddie, and on and on. So why is the hands-off approach now going to make a difference?
Because we never had a hands-off approach. That's the fallacy. As long as we believe that, we'll never correct our problems. If you blame capitalism and free markets and sound money for this, then we can't win the intellectual fight. Because take Enron. When that failed, what did we do? Immediately, the conservative Republicans passed Sarbanes-Oxley, more regulation, which chased a lot of businesses out of this country. So we were doing all this piling on, but we were already overregulated. Now, if you want to get deregulate, I mean, if you want to regulate government agencies, regulate the Treasury, regulate the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has no oversight. They're not even permitted to be audited by law. So that's the kind of oversight that we leave. That's where they have free reign. The Federal Reserve has committed trillions of dollars to individuals and corporations and banks that they don't even have to tell us where it's gone to. That's the kind of regulation we need. Regulation of the market is very, very efficient. Companies that don't do well fail, and when prices have to come down, the consumer won't buy things until they're in the right prices. The best regulation is through the free market, and to blame the free market for this calamity is an absolutely intellectual error that has to be changed.
All right. Well, it's always refreshing to get your point of view. We spent so much time talking about the stimulus today. We didn't get a chance to talk, and I will let people direct people to your website, because you also have a very interesting video that you released yesterday addressing how you think Barack Obama should take on foreign policy. So very interesting as well. Congressman Ron Paul, always great to talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you.